What's happening, Blades? So, I just felt compelled today to jump back on. It's not often we get two rambles in a row, and it's in unfortunate circumstances that I'm coming on tonight. United today posted the sad news that Eddie Colquhoun had passed away. Now, Eddie Colquhoun were way before my time, but we all sing along to the old famous song, don't we? And I think it's a bit of a duty as United fans. I certainly feel the duty to understand the history of the club and what these players who my dad watched and my granddad watched and things like that, what they feel, what they've watched and how these players have contributed to the successes and the pitfalls that they've seen as fans. I just think it's really interesting, and as part of that I do plan on getting my dad on at some stage just to talk about the two generations of what I've seen compared to what he's seen. I think it's interesting to look at things like best ever United 11, because I've only got it from early Bassett, or late Bassett days, should I say, onwards, and he's obviously much earlier, so that's in the future. But today I'm just coming on quickly just to talk about Eddie Colquhoun, because I know, as I say, a lot of young fans won't particularly know much about him, and I've had to read up on Eddie just to see what impact he had for the Blades and why he's a legend at the Lane, essentially. So Eddie was born on 29th of March 1945 in Scotland. He was a centre half, and he started with Bury. Less said about that the better, but he started with them in 1962 and he made 81 league appearances for them. He then moved to West Brom in 67, but in 1968 he joined the Blades. We'd just been relegated to the second division, and our manager at the time was Arthur Rowley. He signed Eddie Colquhoun for the overwhelming sum of £27,500, and I've got it on good merit that you can't even buy a decent caravan for that now. Eddie made his debut for United against Huddersfield on 19th of October in 68. It lists him here as an uncompromising, hard tackling and a leader in his play. He was instantly made captain for his own debut at Bramall Lane against Charlton on 26th of October 68 in a match that we won 2-0. The following week he scored his first United goal against Portsmouth at Fratton Park on 2nd of November. Proved to be an excellent signing and was an integral part of the Sheffield United side, which won promotion to the First Division in the 70-71 season. Danny Alls produced a really good piece for Sheffield Star, so I'd implore you to go and read that rather than listen to me rambling on about it, but I'm just going to give you a little taster of what he's put rather than give you the whole article and sort of undercut him, if you like. So Danny says that he was captain of one of the greatest sides in United's history, as we've mentioned, part of promotion squad 70-71. He made 433 appearances for United, scoring 23 times. And he's been described as being carved out of Scottish granite, with the heart of a lion on his country's coat of arms, but warmth and generosity. Was and is legendary. There's a brilliant photo that comes with the article that's been posted by a Twitter account called Football Back Then, that shows Frank Lampard Sr., Frank Jr.'s dad, who's now struggling at Chelsea, shall we say, locking arms during a goalless draw at Upton Park. One thing that I found really interesting about Eddie Colquhoun, I did not know that he's the grandfather of Ben Wiles, who plays for Rotherham, who we've mentioned before about a potential signing for the Blades. Centre midfielder, captained Rotherham at the Lane this year, scored against us in the Rotherham's 1-0 win at the Lane. It's amazing, isn't it? Small world, so it'd be maybe a bit of sweet irony in that if he were to come home at some stage, come and join the Blades. And I think it's important that us younger Blades, if you like, not that I'm calling myself particularly young, but it was certainly before my time, get to know a little bit about the legends of the club. I spoke to my dad about him and sort of asked around who would you compare him to, really? And he said it's really difficult because he was aggressive, but he was quite slight. He read the game really well, but didn't have blistering pace, wasn't a perfect passer. And the closest conclusion he could come to was he were very much like a John Egan, but Eddie were a bit more aggressive than Egan, a bit more uncompromising, if you like, probably not as technical. He said it essentially is a bit of a blend. His quote was, a blend between Egan and Robinson without the mistakes. because he were a very good footballer, apparently. So I just want to put this out there as my little tribute to a Sheffield United legend who, admittedly, I didn't know an awful lot about before today's news. And it's been a bit of a pleasure, really, doing a bit of a dig into his career and seeing why he's a legend, and it only deepens my affinity to United, and I want to thank him for everything he gave to the club. So, come on, you Red and White Wizards. Rest in peace, Eddie Colquhoun. Up the Blades.
That we got Woodward and Curry, and with Eddie Colquhoun, promotion is soon. United, up together.